So I'm just going to hit the record button, and then yeah, we're not doing anything fancy today for the Zoom. But yeah, so we just tonight got word that a judge has sealed the search warrants in the Madalena Cojocari case. So
Right.
in your experience, when a judge seals these kinds of documents, why do they do that?
Okay, there we go. Well, there's a couple of reasons. It's a judge seals it upon the request of law enforcement through the prosecutor, and is to protect information that they don't want public because search warrant, the affidavit, the return, which is what they seize, is all public information. So if you think back recently to the search at Mar-a-Lago, a lot of questions. Why was it? Why was it sealed? What was the thing? And as we suspected, it's because it was a human source, a person who was giving information, and law enforcement, that person may not want their identity revealed, at least at this point. Eventually, if charges are brought based on the evidence of the search warrant, it's going to have to become public because the defense will get it. And the first thing they do is move to quash all the evidence based on an affidavit with insufficient probable cause. That's kind of standard, because you have to present probable cause to get the affidavit. If there's not, if the judge rules later there wasn't, then the fruits of the poisonous tree doctrine, that all the evidence is quashed. So, but usually it's to protect a person. I know when I did narcotics, 9 times out of 10, that was the reason. It could be also to protect what was seized. There might be some bit of evidence that they don't want the public to know just quite yet, or mostly for the defendants to know that they have. There might be some way of testing their knowledge, their truthfulness, should they talk, or something that might indicate to suspects that they need to take some counter action, hide something, talk to something, come up with a story. So it's all to keep what they have out of the view of the public and the defendants. So it could be physical evidence, it could be a source of information, or just general information that they fear will compromise the investigation, either by cyber sleuths trying to find things, people visiting an area, trying to do the media doing their own investigation that they don't want them snooping around. Not that you guys do that. And so a lot of reasons for that, but generally it's to protect information and the integrity of the investigation.
Right, and we hear that a lot, but so when we obviously know that we have the search warrants and they've been sealed, so they're trying to, as you mentioned, potentially keep something secret. Does that give us a little bit of hope in the case that they might be on to something, or could they just still have nothing and they're still trying to keep that kind of under wraps?
Right. Well, if they're protecting a person, maybe someone gave them information that led to the search warrant, probable cause, and nothing came of it, they might still want to hold it quiet just to protect that person. Again, because if they don't bring charges based on that search, that they're not produce evidence, they can keep that sealed, right, for the person's protection, as opposed to they bring charges. So I would say there's a chance they found something. It's reasonable to believe that they found something worthwhile, but that's not conclusive based on the fact that they're keeping it quiet.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty straightforward answer. Is there anything else that you think
No, is everything
is
sealed? So
important?
the affidavit is sealed,
I
return is
think
sealed,
so.
search,
I think
everything's
so.
sealed.
We just got because they were supposed to be, as you know, released yesterday, and then they weren't. So I'm just gonna pulling up the email. Um, it just so the email from the assistant district attorney says the search warrants for this case have been temporarily sealed by the court, and
Right.
that's it. That's it.
Okay, yeah, I looked on some of your stuff, right? Apparently in
Yeah.
North Carolina, there's no deadline requirement for making the return. So they can still be just looking at it. And again, but most often there's nothing to be gained by giving the public access to the information during an investigation. And you'll see, look back at history, a lot of times law enforcement does it at a pressure from the media, from the public, and they wind up regretting it later. And the public wants to know, and I get that, but it's not always in the best interest of the investigation.
Yeah, and I think that's hard to keep in mind as someone who obviously we want to know all the details, but again, there's a little girl that's missing, and a lot of people are just all on top of it, and they just kind of want to know what's going on. So basically, what you're saying is that it's okay. It's okay that we haven't learned all of that information yet because they might. I mean, we don't want to damage their investigation.
Exactly. Again, whenever you have these tragic moments, there's always that pressure. We want to know. We have the right to know, but really. That right to know is more of an ethical question than a legal question. And certainly we want to put the public's fears, at ease. We want to let them know we're making progress. But as I said, most often it's not in the best interest of the investigation to release information too soon.
All right, perfect. Well said. That's really all I need unless you think there's something else worth noting.
I got Top Gun on pause right now, so I got to get back to
Top
that.
Gun
So
2? Top Gun
Top Gun
2?
2, baby.
Oh my, have you seen it yet?
No, but it is